So let's just settle into a nice, comfortable, seated posture. Knees about hips width apart, shoulders are aligned with the hips. And imagine your spine is a string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. And then go to the crown of the head and relax the scalp, the forehead, the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, back of the head, the back of the neck. Allow your shoulders and shoulder blades to drop down and relax your throat, your chest, and your belly, and all of your limbs. And just bring the mind to the breath and noticing the sensation of the air as you're inhaling and exhaling. And then just be aware if there are any sounds in your environment and just allow those sounds to be there, trying not to follow them with the mind. And then notice perhaps you have some thoughts arising. So for some of you, this is probably the third time you've done this today. So what would be very curious, and I'm noticing it myself, is how different the loudest thoughts are right now than they were this morning or even just an hour ago. So what is encouraging about this is that, oh, wow, the mind will change. I'm not going to be stuck in this state forever. As the saying goes, this too will change. This too will pass. I think someone may be unmuted, so if you wouldn't mind just checking to maybe if one of the hosts could please mute everyone. And then just bring all the people of your life into your mind, into your vision. And the ones we love, then our strangers, and then the ones we don't like so much, and just notice that they can change place at any time. And they're all equal in their wish to be happy and their wish to be free from suffering and having this extraordinary capacity of Buddhahood. So there is no negativity that cannot be purified, and this purification process is basically a psychological one. And we create negativity with our mind, so we can equally change that by creating positivity instead. So we start with the power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general regret all. And the reason to regret is based on the logic of karma, and we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions, and having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we cannot bear the thought of the future suffering that we ourselves will experience. So we know from our present suffering, we don't want any more. So logically, it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this: I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of the suffering. And also regret any anger attachment and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others, and then think again, I'm sick of suffering. And then think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance. We rely upon. We turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor, who has the methods that we can use to purify. Somehow I've lost you all. There we are. So you can imagine that this Buddha is above the crown of your head, and he's made of light, blissful, radiant light. You can also imagine this is the mind of your teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit. He's sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion, and although born out of mud, is untainted by that mud, just like our enlightened potential, which is born out of our delusions, but yet untainted by them. And has a beautiful, radiant face. His eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion, and their being crossed represents the union of these two, which symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings, the very beings we've harmed and those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. So think particularly of people you've harmed recently and in the past, and then in general, all beings we have ever harmed since beginningless time. And then remember those who have harmed you and have compassion for them, because they're going to suffer as a result of the harm they've done to you. So make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these beings, and think, I must purify for their sake. So here we come to the power of the remedy, and this is the medicine doing the practice of purification. And we start with the body, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart. It arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid, and this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as you recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Am Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Am Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Am Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Am Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida meboa, Situkaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anorakta meboa, Sawasidi Mimpiata Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shiam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajrama Mimutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hompe, and Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya, Vajrasapa Dina Patita, Dida meboa, Situkaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anorakta meboa, Sawasidi Mimpiata Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajrama Mimutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with the body. And the next is a purification of your speech. And again, Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and quite forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forces up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, which overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying, or not lying, but not quite telling the truth, or maybe even just not giving all of the facts or all of the information. So it ends up being confusing for people. And then think of perhaps all these ways that we sort of talk about people behind their backs and getting other people to agree with you. And this, just imagine all this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you, overflowing. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya, Vajrasapa Dina Patita, Dida Meboa, Situkaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anorakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shiam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajrama Mimutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hompe, and Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya, Vajrasapa Dina Patita, Dida Meboa, Situkaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anorakta meboa, Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajrama Mimutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hompe, and Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya, Vajrasapa Dina Patita, Dida meboa, Situkaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anorakta meboa, Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajrama Mimutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hompe, and Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya, Vajrasapa Dina Patita, Dida meboa, Situkaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anorakta meboa, Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajrama Mimutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hompe, and Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya, Vajrasapa Dina Patita, Dida meboa, Situkaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anorakta meboa, Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajrama Mimutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hompe, and Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya, Vajrasapa Dina Patita, Dida meboa, Situkaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anorakta meboa, Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajrama Mimutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. So imagine your speech is now completely purified, and it's not possible to do anything but benefit others now with your speech. And this includes what you write with a handwritten note, or what you write in an email, or what you put on social media, or in neighborhood. All these conversations, we're so happy just to throw our opinions into the ring, but we're kind of anonymous, so it's a little bit easier. So just make sure when you're on these platforms that you are using your voice to be of benefit to others. And next is a purification of the mind, and Vajrasattva now very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So it's the same as when you walk into a pitch black room and you flick on the switch. The light instantly dispels the darkness in the room. So just as the light hits your heart chakra, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, so all your attachment and neediness and bitterness and anger and depression, resentment, jealousy, anxiety, they're all instantly dispelled, not one atom left as you recite the mantra. Om Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutukaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Om Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutukaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutukaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. So we can be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified. And think now, there is no space in your heart for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. And next is the purification of even the imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. So imagine Vajrasattva sends light and nectar, it fills you completely and eradicates even this subtlest, very, very subtlest imprints of energy, negative energy. Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe and Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Mebowa Situkaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anurakta Mebowa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe and Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Mebowa Situkaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anurakta Mebowa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe and Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Mebowa Situkaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anurakta Mebowa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe. So now feel you're completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. And now we come to the power of resolve. And this is the final step in the purification process. And a really crucial step. It kind of maps on to this idea of regret. Once you have regret, you have an idea that you'd like to make a decision to change whatever negative action. So this is a determination. This is kind of like an aspiration to not harm. Becomes like a guardrail, a beacon that guides our body and our speech and our mind in new directions. So as Rinpoche used to say, everything exists on the tip of the wishes. So if you have something that you've been working on, you would like to work on, or just think about what you want to work on over the weekend. So if you're in a group of people at a teaching, for example, watch the mind. Watch what's going on in your mind as you we don't badly criticize people, but if someone does something that's annoying or they happen to be sitting in front of us and we can't see, we might feel a bit irritated. We might look at somebody's clothes and think, oh, I don't like what they're wearing. So just be aware of what goes on in the mind when you're in a group of people. And then rejoice when you see some positive qualities emerging in your mind. Oh, that person looks really beautiful today. How their voice sounds really lovely. Then rejoice in your virtue. Or seeing the good things. But you don't have to do this all day long. You can just spend, a couple of minutes, a few seconds, just checking in with your mind. And please don't give yourself a hard time. Just be relaxed. It's a slow process. It's going to take a while. So this determination to not do again gives us some strength to want to change. So Vajrasattva is delighted with us and wants to merge with your mind. So you imagine he melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown, and think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, and Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. So a little bit on emptiness before we end. In emptiness, there is no creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma, and there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level you understand emptiness, place your mind there for a little while. In this way, we can see all phenomena as being empty. They don't exist from their own side. They're just a bunch of dependent arisings. Because I think that the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. We get things wrong all the time. It's just the way we perceive the world. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy we've created doing this purification to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. And then for a strong wish for His Holiness the Dalai Lama to live long and happy and healthy life, then for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche, and then for any of your own teachers to live long. You've got a couple of Geshis there in Santa Fe, so maybe they are the teacher for some of you. So just make a strong wish for them to live long. And anyone else that is your teacher. Okay, everyone. Lots of love. Good night. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. And I will see you all on Monday. Okay, thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.